Get free tech advice for your business from O2 Gurus. Search O2 Business for more. Hey guys, welcome to BTech. It's Basil here with PS4 Remote Play running on our Xperia Z3. You can see we have a DualShock 4 in the foreground. We're actually controlling everything that's going on in the background with our analog stick right there, and it's pretty instantaneous. Well, this video is going to introduce you to the service itself. We're going to run through the setup process pretty quickly and show you a few demos. We'll also give you a couple of tips and tricks as to how to make the service run as well as possible given whatever connections you have at home. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tell you can see this is propped up on a water bottle, nothing too glamorous, but there will be a stand available for the DualShock 4 controller, which will allow you to prop up the Sony Xperia Z3 in front, or indeed the Z3 Compact. What you can also see is the whole thing is wireless. You don't need any wires for this, unlike pairing a DualShock 3 device with a Sony Xperia Z2 in the past. You can also see it works pretty instantaneously, and that is because we have our Ethernet port connected to our PS4. That is the most important connection, the one that you have to the PS4. The one that you have to the Z3 can indeed be wireless. One thing you do want to note, it needs to run off Wi-Fi. It cannot run off a 4G or 3G connection, which is a real bummer considering a lot of people's 4G may be quicker than their Wi-Fi. Right, now that we've talked to you about a few bits surrounding the actual service itself, we can talk you around the setup. And first thing you're going to want to do is, on your Sony Xperia Z3, you're going to want to open your Google Play Store and find the PS4 Remote Play application. You can search for this, scroll down a little bit, it's pretty new so it hasn't made its way to the #1 spot just yet. Open that up, install it, and once that is installed, it is going to try and do two things: pair with your DualShock 4 controller and pair with your PlayStation. You can see very clear on-screen instructions to do both, and it is pretty user-friendly and self-explanatory. So we're going to jump through to next. This is how long you can expect it to take to connect to your PlayStation 4 if your connection is like ours. Like we said, we've got our PlayStation 4 on a wired connection and our Sony Xperia Z3 on a wireless connection. You can see once that's connected, we've got full control over the user interface. We can therefore jump into games very, very easily. One thing we can't do is stream video. Not sure why you'd want to necessarily with services like Netflix, for example, running on Android apps as well, but you can't do that. So jumping into, for example, let's start with a really simple game, Child of Light. We can close Infamous Second Son, which we were playing just a second ago. Anyone who doesn't know, Child of Light is a very, very cool platformer, but it's simple. The graphics are relatively simple. It's nice, it's clean, and it shouldn't require too much information to be shot across because not too much is changing on the screen at any given time. As you can see though, everything looks nice and smooth and fluid. We're running on 100 meg per second connection, by the way. Continue. And platformer, nice and responsive. Maybe bring the DualShock closer so you have less depth of field on there and you can see exactly. Press right now, press left now, up now, down now. So no real lag, no real latency, or not too noticeable. This isn't a fast-paced game, it's more akin to how an RPG would perform. So our impression when playing this game is definitely a good one if indeed you have a good connection. One thing that we tried to do was we tried to connect it to our PS4 using a wireless connection on the PS4. That didn't work anywhere near as well. You saw a judder just there. We would definitely recommend you plug your PS4 in to a wired connection in order to achieve the best PS4 Remote Play functionality. So that is Child of Light. Super simple, super clean, beautiful game, but it hasn't really thrown any issues our way. Now jumping out of that, we can open up Injustice, Gods Among Us. So fighting game, we need some pretty quick fire action for a fighting game to work. One thing which we didn't actually mention is if we tap the actual display itself, all the controls appear on screen too. Now, as soon as we tap on the DualShock controller, that actually moves away from the on-screen controls onto the DualShock controls. Now we can play a quick battle. It's worth also noting the front-facing stereo speakers do a pretty great job of pushing that sound that would appear on your PS4. We may notice some visual stutter, but the audio is great. So what I'm going to do to begin with is just try and play as naturally as I can, holding it in my hand, to give you my initial feedback, and then I'll put the controller where it was before so you can see exactly where it appears and how the latency performs. Okay, and now moving closer, R1. You can see it works actually pretty well, so I'm pressing X. It's ever so slight delay, but it doesn't actually appear to be too bad at all. The hardest thing probably is working a fighting game with an analog stick, and if that's our biggest challenge, then we're not doing too badly. Now, we haven't actually played this game for ages, so if we try and pull off some special attacks, so down, forward, and triangle. As you saw there. Not too bad at all. So ultimately, we're much more impressed than we thought we would be with this service. This, we tried it earlier, was absolutely unplayable when we played the PS4 in a wireless connection, but in a wired connection it actually looks like it does the job just fine. Now, the final type of game, which is definitely the fastest paced game, even faster paced than a fighting game, is going to be Infamous Second Son. This one we found almost unplayable earlier based on the fact the map is tiny. Like we said, we're on a wireless connection, so it was quite juddery. And of course, it's very fast paced. Lots is going on the screen at once. Multiple enemies. Very, very easy to die in this if you're playing it on PS4 Remote Play. That was our initial experience. How does it fare on a LAN wired experience? Okay, so first things first, what we should probably do is find some enemies. Anyone who hasn't played Infamous, this is an awesome game from Naughty Dog, and it's really fast paced, but you can see you have that tiny map right there. That map indicates that if we go to the right hand side, we're going to an enemy base camp, and we should die pretty quickly if we're honest right about here. So let's try and find some bad guys.
Right to those core relays we saw on the way here. Must have been cracked by all that destruction. This one's sealed up pretty tight.
I doubt the DUP is going to let you borrow their keys. You're probably going to have to break them open.
As you can see, the screen's gone white, which means we're almost dead. Now, that isn't actually a reflection as to how hard it is. It's just a reflection as to how badly I'm playing. This actually feels relatively snappy, and there is a slight latency. It's most notable in this by contrast to the fighting game, for example. Okay, so we've got that core relay, it's called. Now, this is the first time we're actually using the thumb pad And you can see, works a treat. Vibrations coming through just fine. Feels very, very nice and immersive. Graphics look absolutely great. Doesn't appear to be any slowdown there. So we're able to just kill some enemies and play. Now we can show you our reaction to latency when we press the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the X button. 3, 2, press. So a slight delay. As you can see though, overall we're impressed. Platformers that are very slow and RPGs are going to be an absolute breeze using PS4 Remote Play. Fighting games surprisingly worked better than we thought. Really 3D platformers and action games may be the biggest challenge, and indeed we assume first-person shooters will be similar. But overall, if you've got an amazing Wi-Fi connection and your PS4 is either plugged in or again has an amazing Wi-Fi connection, you will be sorted. One thing this can't do, like we said earlier, is work over 4G. So if you've got visions of yourself on a train playing your PlayStation 4, it's not going to happen, which is really unfortunate, but one day maybe. You also can't expect this to work over mediocre connections on the PS4 side. Having said that, if your connection is mediocre over the Z3 side, it'll stream at a lower bitrate, so it's not going to be the end of the world. If you see an icon in the top left-hand corner, that indicates you've got a weak connection and it will force close the whole thing. What's really nice about it is PS4 Remote Play functionality is so hardwired in that you can control virtually every aspect of your PS4 using your smartphone. So that has instantly made the Sony Xperia Z3 a winner for anyone who has a PS4 already. If you've got any questions about the service, fire them in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, click like, and if you enjoy BTech in general, click subscribe. Thanks for watching.